The Nintendo Switch 2 is expected to launch later this year, and one key feature would be a first for Nintendo. If you haven't been following gaming news lately, the Nintendo Switch 2 is making the rounds. People are anxiously waiting for the release of Nintendo's next home console. Rumors have been swirling, and a potential release date may have just been leaked. First, hit that subscribe button to keep up to date on this developing story. The Nintendo Switch came out in 2017 alongside the release of the much anticipated Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. When Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom was announced, many people thought that this was going to be the final flagship game for the Nintendo Switch. And based on certain moves in Nintendo retailers, this might turn out to just be true. Also, the specs of the new console are just going to blow you away, so you want to make sure that you stick around to the end of the video to hear about that. According to gaming insiders, Nintendo is unlikely to shift away from the portability of the console that made the original Nintendo Switch so successful. And it's even rumored that the new console will just be an upgraded Switch rather than a complete redesign. If this is to be believed, this would be Nintendo's first home console to get a direct upgraded sequel rather than just a complete redesign. Now, I say home console because obviously consoles like the Game Boy Advance, the Nintendo 2DS, the Nintendo 3DS, those were upgraded sequels to the original console. But there have been no two home consoles that have been alike in Nintendo's history. First, you had the NES, which was this Tupperware, this gray Tupperware container. And then we move up to the Super NES, which was a top-loading giant cassette player. And then we went to the Nintendo 64, which is still a top loader, but it had more of an arcade design to it and had the iconic 3-prong controllers. Then we moved to the disc-based top loading cube game. They literally called it a GameCube because it was just a cube. And then we went with a modern looking console with motion tracking and a front loading disk drive in the Wii. And I don't even want to begin to talk about the commercial failure that was the Wii U, or as I like to call it, the Nintendo Switch prototype, because it's very obvious they wanted the Wii U to be a hybrid console, but just didn't know how to figure it out, so they kind of just released what they could, and it turned out to be absolutely terrible and confusing as hell. But then you get the hybrid console that is the Nintendo Switch. And apparently we are also maybe getting the Nintendo Switch Pro that's been long rumored. Apparently Nintendo is taking a page out of Apple's book, because the Nintendo Switch 2 and the Switch Pro are supposed to be two sides of the same coin. And don't worry, this is coming from someone who bought the 13 Pro over the 13. Okay, now you're probably curious as to what I meant by the movement within Nintendo retailers, and we'll get to that. But first, let's talk about the price. When the Nintendo Switch launched in 2017, it had a price tag of $300. Now, the Switch 2 appears to be following suit with other 9th generation consoles and is going to be coming with a price tag of $400. And flagship games are expected to be $70, as that is now the de facto standard for AAA titles. Although I don't know if you'd consider the Switch 2 9th gen or not, because the Switch was the first 8th gen console. So are we starting the 10th gen with the Nintendo Switch 2, or are we ending the 9th gen with the Nintendo Switch 2? I mean, either way, it's crazy to think that we're almost at the 10th generation of video game consoles. I mean, my first console was a Nintendo 64, and that was the 5th generation of video game consoles. And we're already hitting the double digits. Okay, so what is happening in Nintendo retailers? So a lot of popular titles are going out of stock. The physical games are going out of stock. It seems like Nintendo is not printing these games anymore, and they're like Paper Mario and Metroid. Those kind of games are starting to go out of stock for their physical copies. And this fact just suggests that Nintendo is getting ready to release a new console. But what exactly is going to make this console different from the Nintendo Switch? Well, for starters, a much needed display upgrade. Now, according to these insiders, it's unlikely that this new console will switch over from the LCD display to an OLED. But much like the Nintendo Switch OLED, it's likely that the Switch 2 would see an OLED version come out eventually. However, this new console could see an increased refresh rate from 60 Hz to 120. And of course, a NVIDIA Customs graphics card, which is expected to make the console comparable to the performance of the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. As for the flagship game for the console, it's been rumored that Smash 6 is in development and that this new Smash game could likely release alongside the new Switch 2 console. And that's pretty much as deep as the rumors go. Oh, except for the release date. So at the Consumer Electronics Show 2024 in Vegas, tech company Altec Lansing announced that GameShark is returning. Well, sort of. They're doing this weird AI thing. I don't really understand it. You don't really care. You're here for the Switch 2. But what's important is that in their press release for this, they talked about how they want the release of this GameShark AI thing to coincide with the release of the Nintendo Switch 2 in September 2024. If this is to be believed, we should expect a Nintendo Direct event in April or May to announce the new console, which is super exciting, even if it is just speculation at this point. What games do you want to see on the next Switch console? Let me know in the comments down below, and please like this video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe because I will keep you updated as more rumors, leaks, and hopefully an announcement of a Nintendo Switch 2 console comes out. But if you want to know the story behind Nintendo's first console, click this video right here or check out this recommended video. Okay, bye.